We bring you the latest edition of MBC News with me, Arthur Chokoto, alongside Lynn Limponda, our sign language interpreter tonight. Let's take a look at our top stories. Government guarantees to make the 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund, CDF, performance-based once it rolls out. Malawi Red Cross Society steps up efforts to mitigate cholera outbreaks through training of volunteers on cholera response. And in sports, FC Binyasa Big Bullets bank on the Castel Challenge Cup as an opportunity to compensate supporters for a disappointing season. Glad you could join us. Government says the 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund, CDF, will be performance-based once it rolls out. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Ben Piri has warned that all non-performing councils stand to lose benefits from the funds. Austin Fugula reports.
During an engagement with the Chiratsuru District Council, the minister indicated that the 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund, CDF, is a performance-based, just like what happens with governance to enable service delivery, JSID funds. It is for this reason that all councils across the country need to manage and utilize resources under CDF effectively, unlike in the past when some councils failed to effectively utilize the funds yet continued to receiving funding in the following financial years. On utilization of resources, Piri expressed satisfaction of Chiratsuru Council officials for its efforts in utilizing resources despite operating with over 40% vacancy rate.
They are sitting at 48% vacancy rate. The other councils that are at 82%, but the ones that are 82% absorption rate seem to be 40%. The ones that are at 48%, the absorption rate is way above 70%. That is something else. The belief at times have been the more workers you have, the more output it becomes. But Chiratsuru has proven it otherwise.
District Commissioner for Chiratsuru, Ernestina Mame, attributed the success to teamwork and support for members of parliament, MPs and councillors. In Palombe, the minister challenged the council officials to change their working attitude and ensure they serve the public in their best interest. Piri then stated that time has come for the council to relocate the council offices to Migowi as the current site at the Boma is prone to natural disasters. The local government minister proceeded with his tour to Mulanje, where he told councillors and members of parliament that funds for CDF are not owned by either of them, but they are meant to serve and transform communities.
One thing that I'm going to show Malawians is that Mulanje District Council is ready for the CDF, and they will utilize the resources with quality, as you have seen today, with proper governance structures that are in place. We are so sure it shall be well. I know for a fact that they can improve here and there. We have taken note of those. We will be supporting them where necessary, but all in all, Mulanje is ready.
The 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund is expected to be rolled out in the 2026-2027 financial year and will benefit all councils across the country. Austin Fugula, MBC News.
Governance and human resources experts have supported government's decision to hire district council administrators on a fixed contract basis. The development was announced by the local government minister Ben Piri during a series of town and council meetings he conducted countrywide. Chisomo Break reports.
Weighing in on his views on the development, a human resource expert, Bright Lemani, has described the decision as a step in the right direction in improving service delivery.
It's the right move in the right direction because it will propel high performance in the civil service. Basically, and traditionally, we have seen people taking civil service for granted. So this is a shift from the traditional public management to new public management, which look at running government as a business. So I believe that with this kind of determination, civil servants will have targets to achieve, and they'll be working hard to achieve those targets. In so doing, service delivery is going to improve drastically in the civil service, and the customer satisfaction, people who benefit from government are going to be happy with the service provision. So I really recommend the government for taking this direction.
Commenting on the matter, Publicity Secretary for the Political Scientists Association of Malawi, Mavuto Pamos, welcomed the development, noting that the civil service has been working based on a laissez-faire approach.
Staff and any workers within the local governance system must show results on the work which they do every month, every quarter, every year, such that their continued existence as civil servants, as public servants, as local government workers should be based on what is it that they are giving back to Malawians in terms of results. So secondly, that also helps to give the taxpayers value for money, because all the public servants are actually paid by the taxpayers. So people should actually be confident that the money which they are giving out to the government in form of taxes is giving back value in form of results. Ultimately, this approach towards the contract-based management or hiring local government staff on contract basis will help to harness the potential, the development potential that is massively lying idle in the districts. And generally, I think for Malawi actually to develop in line with the Malawi 2063 agenda, that's the way to go. So the Minister of Local Government needs to be commended for this.
The development comes a few weeks after the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development issued a directive that every civil servant should be residing within the council where they work. Chisomo Break, NBC News, Blantyre.
The World Meteorological Organization, WMO, has commended the government of Malawi for improving its capacity of handling and disseminating meteorological information. Secretary General of the WMO, Celeste Saulo, said this at Parliament in Lilongwe after having an interface with Minister of Natural Resources, Patricia Wiskes. Saulo said Malawi has become a good example of a country which understands the need to increase capacity of meteorological services as effects of extreme weather and climate change are being felt. From Lilongwe, Patrick Dambula reports.
Minister responsible for natural resources Patricia Wiskes, alongside her deputy Chibiriro Mpinganjira, had an interface with a delegation of the World Meteorological Organization WMO at Parliament buildings. During the interface, Secretary General of the organization Celeste Saulo said it is impressive that the government of Malawi is doing a great job in improving capacity of providing meteorological and climate information through the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services. She said the WMO knows that Malawi needs support because of the many challenges it is facing due to extreme weather and climate change, hence their visit. She added that it is impressive that the minister responsible for natural resources has demonstrated a vast knowledge on the need to build climate resilience.
She's well aware of the importance of building climate resilience to strengthen the capacity of the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services. So that's why the WMO comes to Malawi, because Malawi is a really good example of how you work when you have the capacity and the support also from donors and UN and the UN system in general to make sure that the early warning systems that you have in place are improved and are efficient and reach everyone and every single community.
Commenting on the issue, Deputy Minister of Natural Resources Chibiriro Mpinganjira said government is already strategizing on how to safeguard the support that it is getting from its partners, including the WMO, World Bank and others.
In the past few days, we've been conducting familiarization tours, and on Saturday we were at Met Services. So we've been made aware of some issues to do with vandalism and we started addressing them on Saturday. We'll continue addressing them so that whatever we receive will be properly safeguarded. We've also got issues to do with maybe understaffing. We'll be looking into those issues to make sure that there are enough people to do the work so that it's a benefit for all. It's a win-win situation for everyone.
Mpinganjira added that soon the government of Malawi will take to parliament a bill which, when turned into law, will make it easier to regulate certain things to do with meteorological issues. The WMO is the United Nations Agency for Weather, Climate and Water. Patrick Dambula, MBC News, Lilongwe.
The Malawi Red Cross Society says it will continue to train volunteers on cholera response so that the country records 0 death from the disease. Public emergencies focal point for the organization, Tawonga Nyeka made the remarks during a 2-day training of 30 volunteers on cholera response in hotspot areas of Chilomoni and Chirimba townships in Blantyre. Charles Pensulo reports.
After conducting cholera management trainings in Mwanza, Balaka and Neno, the Malawi Red Cross Society conducted the similar training with volunteers from cholera hotspot areas of Chirimba and Chiromoni in Blantyre. Speaking during the training, Nyeka said the volunteers were being taught on how to set up oral rehydration points where they will be administering oral rehydration salts to cholera suspected cases before referring them to nearest health facilities. According to Nyeka, the development has the potential to reducing cholera-related deaths among communities.
Malawi Red Cross Society is supporting the Ministry of Health in the response for the current cholera outbreak, and we are here to capacitate community volunteers and also community health workers so that they can support those suspected cases in the community.
One of the volunteers to the training, Greg Ambewa from Chirimba Township in the city, said the training has equipped him with knowledge on how to contain further spread of cholera.
Today we have learned how to prevent cholera and how we can prevent cholera and to the bridge, and we can make it bridge to be our clean, and cholera it goes because of poor sanitation. So we try our best to have resources that we can prevent cholera in all angles, in our area, in our society, in our community.
As of Thursday, 5th February, Blantyre had recorded 37 confirmed cholera cases with 1 death since the onset of the 2025-2026 rainy season, while Malawi as a whole had recorded 71 cases with 2 deaths. Only 5 districts have so far recorded cholera cases in the country since the start of this rainy season. Charles Pensulo, MBC News, Blantyre.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Government guarantees to make the 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund CDF performance-based once it rolls out. Malawi Red Cross Society steps up efforts to mitigate cholera outbreaks through training of volunteers on cholera response. In sports, FC Binyasa Big Bullets bangs on the Castel Challenge Cup as an opportunity to compensate supporters for a disappointing season.
Ready to be entertained? We've got you. GoTV's got more shows just for you.
That's right.
More movies?
Yes.
Jackpot. More kids shows?
Of course.
And more football than anywhere else.
No doubt about it.
Yes, we've got more. And we've got you. Pay for your current GoTV package and we'll upgrade you to the next highest package. Get more with GoTV. At home or on the go with GoTV Stream. GoTV. Love it.
Welcome back, and moving on. The Pesticides and Control Board has urged companies to align their operations with requirements of the industry to protect people and the environment from potential hazards. Spokesperson for the board, Leston Banda, made the remarks during a routine inspection exercise which the board has been conducting in some companies that import or use pesticides in bulk. According to Banda, the move is aimed at enforcing laws that govern the industry. The board has so far inspected Nasonia Estate in Cholo, Farmers Organization Limited and Afri Venture Blantyre Limited.
We have made some recommendations to make sure that they take up those particular issues which they have not complied with. Particularly, we have seen that most of the workers there, they are not using PPE, personal protective equipment. We have also seen that they are keeping a lot of empty containers which are very hazardous to the people working there, but also the community at large. We have also seen that most of their facilities, storage facilities, they are not licensed. So we have instructed them that by the end of the month, they have to make sure that all those particular issues are looked into. We went further to one of the importers, the big importers in the country, Farmers Organization. Over there, we have seen that they comply to quite a number of issues, but we have seen that they are accumulating a number of expired products, in which case we have instructed them to make sure that they work on those, they find a better way of disposing of those, otherwise we are going to penalize them. Here we are at AfriVenture, our third place. We have also seen that they are complying on some issues, particularly on storage of products. They are keeping registered products. The only thing that we have identified here is that most of the officers, they are not properly trained by us, and we have also instructed them to make sure that within a month they have to send all their officers to Pesticides Control Board for training. For them to handle pesticides properly, they need to have some knowledge. They need to know the pesticides, and they need to keep themselves or to protect themselves from the hazards associated with this particular pesticide. Particularly if they are not properly stored, they can easily get damaged as quickly as possible due to environmental conditions. But also if they are not properly stored on pallets, most of the times they get caked, particularly dust pesticides. So we advise them to make sure that whenever they are keeping these particular products, most of the products, they are kept on pallets.
And National Sales and Marketing Manager for Farmers Organization Limited, FOL, Ronald Chilumba, says currently they are rectifying some of the issues raised by the board.
Talking about the observations that the board chair has picked, we are keen to make sure that all obsolete pesticides are handled properly, and we've already done quite a lot. We have disposed of majority of the obsolete stocks that we were keeping. We have also discussed ways and means of making sure we don't stockpile obsolete pesticides in this country. There are a number of things that have to be looked at, including regulations, because our regulations in this country require that every pesticide must have a shelf life of 2 years. When, in actual sense, looking at chemistry, you understand that not all products will expire within 2 years. So there are some products that will stay, say, for 5 years or even beyond that. So we need to relook at our regulations so that we can offer better service to the farmers. Because when we stockpile obsolete pesticides, that's a big risk, not only to the business, but even to the community out there. Because these obsolete stocks may find their way out on the market.
Blantyre City Council has announced that it will not extend the deadline for property owners to settle outstanding city rates arrears. Reports indicate that property owners collectively owe the council 9 billion kwacha. George Muhango has compiled this report, read by Ruth Chinangwa.
Blantyre City Mayor Isaac Jomo Osman confirmed the decision with MBC, emphasizing that the funds are crucial for city development and the provision of social services. He explained that the council has issued a 21-day deadline which expired in January. Osman warned that failure to pay city rates will result in closure of commercial buildings and business premises. The mayor noted that the response so far has been encouraging, although a few property owners have ignored the directive. However, he declined to reveal how much the council has collected since the deadline was issued. Last April, Blantyre City Council increased city rates by 10% on residential properties and 35% on commercial properties. Currently, the council is issuing notices to properties with outstanding balances and initiating seizure and sale proceedings. Payment of city rates is regarded as key strategy for boosting revenue collection and strengthening enforcement mechanisms, thereby ensuring service delivery and financial sustainability for councils across Malawi.
The Malawi Defence Force, MDF, has revealed plans to restore Kaningina forest that was destroyed by charcoal burners, illegal tree harvesters, among others. Lieutenant Prince Soko of Moyale Barracks said this when Mzuzu City Council was launching this year's tree planting exercise in the city. Musa Secheyo reports.
Speaking during the launch of tree planting exercise that Mzuzu City Council organized, Lieutenant Prince Soko of Moyale Barracks expressed concern that some people continue destroying trees in Kaningina Forest, a development that is not only destroying the environment but also affects their duties. Lieutenant Soko said apart from intensifying their patrols, the soldiers are planning to replace trees in the forest.
We've been making patrols in the Kaningina Forest. And very shortly, maybe in a month or so, we'll go there and replant trees.
During the launch of the tree planting exercise, Mzuzu City Council and its partners planted about 500 trees. Chairperson of the event, Thomas Ngwira, who is also Director of Action for Sustainable Development ASUD, expressed optimism that replacing vegetative cover will reduce land degradation and lead to bumper yields.
All these kind of disasters take place, the land is degraded, agriculture is not doing well, the food security lowers, all sorts of things are taking place. So planting trees like this one is an important event.
For his part, Mayor for Mzuzu City, Chiembekezo Moses, said the council wants to reclaim the evergreen status of the city.
We want evergreen city back. Yeah, so we are encouraging them, and on top of that, we are planning to find trees to give each and every household, if it is possible. If we get some funds, we'll do that.
Mzuzu City Council has a target of planting 32,000 trees this year. Musa Secheyo, MBC News, Mzuzu.
In sports, FC Binyasa Big Bullets interim coach Gilbert Chira believes the Castel Challenge Cup provides an opportunity for the team to make amends for what has largely been a disappointing season. Bullets reached the final of the competition on Sunday, following a 2-0 victory over Mzuzu City Hammers. Norbert Jameson has the details.
Despite retaining the Airtel Top 8 Cup, the 2025-2026 football season has not been rosy for Bullets, as they missed out on the TNM Super League Championship for the second year running, as well as the FDH Bank Cup. During the season, the team lost 3 times to rivals Mighty Wanderers and posted 6 league defeats for the first time in 10 years. But Coach Chirwa says all that will be water under the bridge if they clinch the Castel Challenge Cup.
It is a greatest opportunity for Bullets to correct everything that we don't do well. And I believe this is the greatest chance for us to go out there and play to our best to win the cup.
Bullets' opponent in the final will be Goshen-seeded the Dynamos, who are chasing their first ever major cup. The Edza eliminated Blue Eagles on Saturday to reach the final. Their coach Alex Ngwira explains what it will take to break the jinx.
Yeah, still more we will have to push hard and we will have to train hard so that at least we amend and correct the mistakes that we have seen going forward.
The final will be played on 21st February at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe. Norbert Jameson, MBC Sport.
In international news, African leaders have emphasized the importance of empowering the young generation to bring fresh perspectives and ideas that can foster entrepreneurship and job creation. Speaking at the 2026 World Government Summit in Dubai, General Secretary of the Commonwealth of Nations, Shirley Bochwe, expressed the bloc's commitment towards achieving some of Africa's agenda in the next 5 years. Tosun Magombo reports.
According to General Secretary of the Commonwealth of Nations, African governments are working closely with regional blocs to promote unilateralism in building economic resilience.
We need each other. We can't do without. We can't live in isolation. No country can go it alone, not even the United States. And so let's look within as a Commonwealth and let's do things that will develop our countries, the least developed countries that are part of the Commonwealth, the developing countries, and even the first world countries.
In his remarks, the president of Botswana, Duma Boko, acknowledged the power and potential of African countries to become global leaders of the next generation.
Verve and vitality is what Botswana offers and what will power Africa. Africa generally is a very young continent with a median age of 19.3. Botswana's median age is 25. And so with such a population, Africa is poised to rule the world.
The summit also gave opportunity to African countries to discuss measures put in place to support the young and growing population in the region.
In the 21st century, without education, definitely you can make it. And we do not just want to make it at the personal level, family level. We want to grow as a nation. We want to be useful citizens of West Africa, the community that I chair today. But we also want to be useful citizens, global useful citizens that can contribute to the world.
The summit was held under the theme Shaping Future Government. Tosun Magombo, MBC News.
And that's the news for now. A recap of our top stories before we leave. Government guarantees to make the 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund CDF performance-based once it rolls out. Malawi Red Cross Society steps up efforts to mitigate cholera outbreaks through training of volunteers on cholera response. In sports, FC Binyasa Big Bullets banks on the Castel Challenge Cup as an opportunity to compensate supporters for a disappointing season. And you can keep up to date with our news coverage on all our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Arthur Chokoto, alongside Lin Lemponda, our sign language interpreter. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Good evening and welcome. It's time for weather update. Very heavy rainfall was reported from